guys, so welcome back to Mika Reacting Views. We're reacting to things on the internet. Same day, same shirt, different video. I'm gonna be recording a lot of videos in this shirt because I'm on a roll. I'm gonna get a mood. I have energy. Let's go. Anyway, we're gonna be reacting to a non-musical reaction today. We're gonna be reacting to a Michaela Peterson video. She put it up, I think, on her channel, and she recently had a debate about veganism at Oxford Union. And we're not gonna be listening to her part of it because, like, I think a lot of us, if you are a fan of Michaela Peterson, if you're not, go check her YouTube channel out about her health journey, how she used to be really sick and for a long time, from like the time she was a small child up into her early adulthood. Physically had tons of surgery, had like actual body parts replaced, or like bones and joints, you know what I mean? And she went through a lot of mental health issues, and she seemingly seemed like she's cured it all by just going to a carnivore diet. And so, like, I know that part of her story, and I'm really happy for her and proud of her for, you know, telling her testimony, and I'm glad that she feels better and she's healing herself and stuff like that. However, we're going to be reacting to the other half of it. I'm pretty sure there was multiple people who debated, but we're reacting to one woman who literally went full on woke crazy during her vegan part of the debate, and that's the part I want to react to. And I actually heard Dr. Jordan Peterson talk about it, I think, on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was like, "Oh my God, if they upload this video, you have to go watch it because it's fucking ridiculous." So here I am to watch the ridiculousness with you guys. Anyway, this video was uploaded, I believe, a few days ago, and has like a little over 200,000 views and a bit over 2,000 likes. So we're gonna right into it. But before we do, if you like these type of videos, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get some notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support this channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. And another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program or my brand new Patreon. Different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. All right, here we go.
Room. Now, to move not beyond meat, but move on with the debate, I call upon Kara Adams to conclude the side proposition.
I've read the motion, and I believe we should move beyond all meat. So, what we choose to eat has consequences far beyond the circumference of our plates. Specifically, your vote tonight expresses your allegiance to or rejection of a white supremacist patriarchal worldview. Do we vote to further inequality and sustain world-destroying violence? In the sexual politics of meat, I introduced the concept of animals as absent reference. In order to be eaten, animals must disappear as living beings, that is, be killed. They then disappear conceptually, as so many forms in which we eat animals' corpses are massaged by euphemistic language: hamburger, steak, pork, bacon, etc. Even the speaker just before me talked about turkeys. He's talking about dead, butchered turkeys of whom part of their bodies will be eaten. Meat eaters order leg of lamb, not a baby lamb's leg. The animals cannot possess their own body parts. Tonight, think about how the language of our debate has or has not participated in the structure of the absent referent. Who disappears and why? 21st century animal eating requires our complicity in a new colonialism. We know how settler colonialism worked, an erase and replace system that forced indigenous people off the land, replacing them with cattle and white settlers. I recognize today as Indigenous Peoples' Day. One of the defining aspects of the colonial legacy is an ongoing white supremacist belief system and an ownership paradigm. When you own the land, you get the title to it. Entitlement and ownership are linked.
All right, stopping it there. Okay, so first of all, from the very beginning of what she was saying, this is what a lot of these really crazy, wokey, progressive type of people do, is like they basically try to force you into different tribes by using extreme language. It's like trying to bully, almost bully division, because it's like, if you say no to this vote, then you are a white supremacist and you're a misogynist and you're all these terrible, terrible things to try to bully you, to try to agree with them, instead of just being someone who just likes to eat meat. I said none of those things, just someone who likes to eat meat or someone who doesn't like to eat meat. But like they try to bully you, like scare you into be like, okay, I have to vote yes because I don't want to be seen as all these terrible labels. You know what I mean? And then like I hate this whole idea of like owning land is like a white supremacist thing. So like if you're black, you shouldn't own land because you're not white and you don't want to participate in white supremacy. Like I've actually heard this notion before. I heard a white woman talk about how like she felt bad for buying land for her daughter because it was a white supremacist thing, and I'm just like, so black people don't own land. We don't own property. That's not a thing. I don't. Let's continue.
All the justifications for the taking of land by white colonial authorities included the claim, well, the Indians can't prove they own the land. Hunting exists within this colonial ownership paradigm. It presumes that animals don't have title to their own lives. Once dispossessed of their lives, the hunted animal can become your property.
On that point.
In a minute. Approximately 90% of Native Americans were killed off by erase and replace settler colonialism. It's the new colonialism that boasts, I'll hunt for myself and be grateful like the Native Americans. As well, like the Native Americans, I thank the animal for their sacrifice. And I wonder, how do you know the animal would have picked you to feed off their corpse? The argument that hunting is ethical presumes that some primeval form of eating exists, unmediated by corrupting influences of society. There's no room in the new colonialism for an indigenous worldview to exist. Instead, it collapses more than 100 Native American nations into one amalgam and attributes a static indigenous worldview that erases those nations that were predominantly vegetarian.
Stop it. No. The fucked up part about them trying to make it seem like meat eating is somehow like a white supremacist thing, or she's gonna get into the misogyny later, is that meat eating is really, really big in most ethnic cultures, in black culture, in African culture, Ethiopian, like Jamaican, in Native American. They hunted, they were hunters, they were hunter and gatherers. So the fact that she's trying to make it seem like, no. Meat was introduced by white people, like meat eating was introduced by white people is like insane to me. And no, Native Americans was not 90% vegetarian. Again, they were hunters, they were hunter and gatherers. Yeah, they also ate off the land, like planted and farmed and stuff like that, but they were hunter and gatherers, they were hunters. So like it's just really insane to me because meat eating is like so embedded in a lot of ethnic cultures. Like I actually was a vegan for about a year and I was a vegetarian for about 3 years. My family thought I was nuts because they are black and black people eat meat. That was always the thing because it's so embedded in a lot of ethnic cultures. So it's just mind-blowing to me that how she's trying to somehow make it seem like eating meat, hunting, farming, gathering meat, whatever, butchering meat, slaughtering animals, whatever you want to call it, is a white thing. It's so not a white thing. It's maddening to me how people like do their mental gymnastics and make this shit up. She also reminds me of one of these people who keep preaching about white supremacy but also like preaches white supremacy, because one of these people who actually think anything that exists today in modern time is somehow rooted in white supremacy or misogyny, not giving any other ethnic groups any credit for anything. Anyway, let's continue.
The new colonialists see nothing wrong with a pick and choose approach to indigenous thought that never engages with the survival issues indigenous peoples are facing today. 70% of the population would have to be eliminated for people to try to rely on hunting to survive. Who would live and who dies and who decides? As for domesticated animals, Percy Shelley pointed out just after being expelled from Oxford, the quantity of nutritious vegetable matter consumed in fattening the carcass of an ox would afford 10 times the sustenance if gathered immediately from the bosom of the earth. 200 years after Shelley, as we've heard, 1/3 of the landmass of the world is committed to animal agriculture. Entire ecosystems are disappearing. 80% of deforested acres in the Amazon were cleared for animal-based cattle grazing.
Stopping it there. Okay, so I don't disagree with that part of it. I feel like most times if you stick to something like that, people can actually be like, yeah, I get it. I personally do think that the industrial animal farming is unhealthy and not great for the planet, not great for the meat industry, not great for our bodies. The amount of chemicals and hormones and shit that they put into those animals, the way they even kill the animals. I believe in like that idea of like energy, and so like that fear, that trauma, that terror, I do believe can go into the meat. I do also agree with the whole like the amount of water and grain and food that we produce just to keep these animals alive can also go into better use, like, I don't know, feeding the hungry or feeding other countries who need it. So I do agree with some of those things. Do I think that means like farming and animal digestion or eating animals should just completely be disappeared? No, but I do think that we can reform and correct some of the things that we're doing. I mean, I've definitely seen those behind the scene like videos of like some of the ways, some of the treatment of these animals are like awful. Like you wouldn't wish that on your enemy, like some of the ways they're being treated, and if they're not being slaughtered ethical. And I know a lot of vegans think that there is no ethical way of killing something, and I understand that thought to it, and they always like to use, I've seen these like street interviews where they like to use that idea of like, well, what if your mom was getting killed? Do you think there's an ethical way of killing your mom? And I'm like, well, if it was two choices of slowly torturing her to death, giving her a quick death, yeah, I would choose the quick death. So to me, between those two, there is a more ethical way of killing someone. It's still death, it's still murder, but still, like, I get both sides of it. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that, like, she just mentioned that a lot of the forest was like mowed down to create farms. A lot of the rainforest is actually also destroyed to create soybean farms, which is also replacing tons of animals and destroying natural medicines that we probably desperately need. So either like agriculture period can be done better. It's not just when it evolves animals, you know what I mean? Also like using people as human slaves to farm these lands is also a bad thing. So it's not always about animals. It's the entire industry can kind of be reformed. So I'm not like completely like anti all of this. I just think the way she's going by it is not helping her cause whatsoever. Anyway, let's continue.
And yet tonight at dinner, I saw the lions eaters send meat back from their plates. So-called free-range animals contribute more greenhouse gases, while killing them in mobile slaughterhouses requires more water than industrial slaughterhouses and leaves behind an immense amount of waste, requiring an intense amount of chemicals in the process. Your meat may be organic, but your slaughtering isn't. If you eat animals, you take up more climate space, requiring more water, more land, more forest deforestation, contributing more greenhouse gases. This is felt disproportionately by countries in the global south. Their carbon footprint is smaller, but they experience more frequent and intense climate change-caused weather events. These events especially affect girls and young women. Your hamburger comes with a dose of misogyny.
Okay, that last part was kind of funny. Anyway, I don't really know how it would be more detrimental to young girls and women. She didn't actually explain or quote any statistics or literature whatsoever. And I would also take everything she's saying with a grain of salt when it comes to like factual stuff, because I did look in the comment section. A lot of people were saying a lot of stuff she was saying was not actually true at all. So like, I would take a lot of what she's saying when it comes to actual facts with a grain of salt. Google it yourself. All right, let's continue.
The Western world colonized their space without sending a single beef eater. Through colonial power, the diet of beef-loving English people became normative. The food heritage of pre-conquest peoples, like the land itself, was overrun. It was the colonizers, especially the British, who declared that the virility of meat-eating nations explained their success over the supposed feminine and weak rice-eating countries they defeated. Historically, the vast majority of the world lived without animal protein as a central part of their diet. The assumption that the best protein comes from corpses is a racist belief as it erases and replaces indigenous African, Asian, Mesoamerican cultural food practices.
Lies. Lies. I don't know about Asian, but again, a lot of ethnic cultures, as their diets is like meat is such a huge part of it. Maybe it's not always red meat, it can be chicken, it can be fish, but meat is a huge part of it. So I don't know why, what world does she think she's living in that anyone's gonna believe that, oh yeah, before white people came along, no other races on the planet ate meat whatsoever. Like, this is such a lie. And being a person of color, being a black person, knowing all African heritage, this is like a straight up 100% bullshit. Oh, and also my great grandmother was full-blooded Native American. Meat was a part of the diet. I don't know where she's getting this bullshit from. The idea that it's because some nations had meat consumptions over other nations, that way they can defeat them. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know, like, I've definitely known like raw vegans and people who like didn't eat any meat. And granted, they probably didn't do their diet properly, because there is a way to do raw veganism and there's a way not to do it. And a lot of people don't do it properly because it's actually quite expensive to do raw veganism properly, to have enough calorie intake. But these friends of mine who were raw vegans, they talked super slow, they moved super slow, they behaved very slow because their brain was slow, because they wouldn't get enough nutrients, right? And then like they went to a doctor, and the doctor basically was like, eat some cooked food, please. And as soon as they ate any cooked food, boom, like they were talking faster, they were behaving faster, they were more on point. So like that's not the best comparison, because that's not like veggies compared to meat, that's like raw vegan compared to cooked food. But I do believe that there can be some sort of like, if you're not getting enough calorie intake, if you're not getting the nutrition you need to work your brain power, then yeah, you might not be as fast as the next person who are doing those things. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I just wanted to say that. But anyway, let's get back into it.
Meat eating is also one of the ways gender-based structures of oppression are perpetuated. Men in the West are taunted to renew their man card by eating meat because that's what real men do. That's the sexual politics of meat, and it reveals how unsettled masculinity really is. Back home, my library card is good for 7 years, but a man card can expire between breakfast and lunch if someone eats a veggie burger.
That was funny.
Masculinity, a construct of the gender binary facing constant destabilization, feels always under threat.
Why do you think it's feeling like it's constantly unstabilized? Because you have all these people like this that took some stupid ass progressive liberal Marxist courses in university and then decided it was her job to tell men how to be men and young boys how to be young boys, or young boys how to grow up to be men. You're toxic, or you're have white fragility at this point. So like, yeah, that's probably why it's unstable, because they have no guidance at this point, because everyone's telling them who they are as young boys and as men is wrong and toxic and is all your fault. But anyway, let's continue.
And eating animals is its protection racket.
Question?
That's why after 9/11, nope. That's why after 9/11, a focus on men as heroes and on meat eating became part of the reclamation of a wounded masculinity. When a black man was elected as US president, we saw how white this wounded masculinity was. White supremacists weaponized it, eating meat, eggs, and dairy. Images of milk-drinking white men, of platters groaning with meat, and the baiting of liberal men as so-called soy boys are all part of the neo-Nazi messaging.
Okay. First of all, trolling and memeing other guys on the left or progressives as soy boys does not make you a neo-Nazi. Again, this is extreme language to make everyone an extremist and bully you into agreeing to a certain side or not. First of all, I missed the part where she basically tried to compare heroes, firefighters, people who sacrificed their lives to save people from 9/11, and try to compare that into some sort of toxic masculinity. Okay, that kind of sucks. And people forget that a lot of white people had to vote Obama into office for him to become president. But hey, white supremacy is still large. Let's continue.
This is their right, the neo-Nazis say. This is their identity. The new colonization rests on the unstable foundation of white men's insecurities. Look at the way people, men, in the animal industry speak of female animals as willing and ready to be made forcibly pregnant, which female animals are powerless to resist. There'd be no meat eating without the constant forced reproduction by female animals. Yet popular culture is flooded with references to sexy cows, sexy pigs, sexy chickens, sexy fishes, who all just want to have fun. They want to be pregnant and they want to be killed because this feminized sexuality wants to be eaten.
No one talks like that. No one talks like that. And I'm like kind of sick of people pretending we still live in like the 1950s when it comes to like popular culture. Popular culture is very liberal and progressive, especially in the West. So I don't know what popular culture she's talking about. Maybe from the 1950s. I don't really know. Like what? And have I seen animals been portrayed as sexy? I guess yeah, like in the Looney Tunes where all the characters were animals, but it wasn't like they were playing like it was a guy hunting something and the deer was like woohoo. Like it just like all the characters are animals, so like one is female, one is male, and also animal characters have been portrayed as masculine and sexy as a male character. So it's not just been female animal characters. Speaking of sexism, she's very sexist because she has not really talked about the men that are harmed in the industry, the farmers that are harmed in this industry. She's not talking about the psychological and emotional torture that a lot of these people who work in these factory shops and the stuff they have to see and do because they don't have any other options when it comes to jobs. A lot of them affect men. She didn't even talk about the male animals. The only animal she actually really cared about seems like is the female animals. So yeah, like I think she's the sexiest one in the group here, and also practice the bigotry of low expectations, because apparently the only people's job is to end animal slaughter are on white people, especially white men. Black people you can just keep doing. People of color, do what you do, because of course if the white people would just stop it, then we would just go back to our natural roots of just eating grass. Anyway, let's continue.
The only desire animals are credited with possessing is the desire to be consumed, which strangely can only be expressed after their death. Real life tells a different story. Animals try to escape from slaughterhouses or farms. When able, cows try to reclaim their calves, taken from them so their nursing material can be monetized and sold to humans. They fight and resist the fate the colonial empire claims is their welcomed destiny.
Of course they do.
Some meat eaters are afraid of what they will feel if they look too closely at the degradations that constitute animals' experience. Mention disabling practices or the devastating separation of cows and their babies, and we hear meat eaters exclaim, "Don't tell me." Why are they afraid of the feelings such knowledge produces? They accept a patriarchal construct that views feelings as unruly and untrustworthy, causing chaos. To say you care about animals is considered a sign of weakness in a world still committed to the gender binary.
Stop it. No one says this. No one says this. No one says I don't want to hear this because I don't want feelings because I'm too masculine. No one says that. Usually it's a really annoying vegan person on the streets that's yelling in your face that you're a murderer and you're like, shut the fuck up. That's usually the scenario. And no one says saying you love animals is like a feminine thing. The amount of men who TikTok themselves and film themselves kissing their dogs and loving on their dogs and their cats and all the other reptile animals they have or whatever animals they have. No one says this. This is a cartoonish stereotype that these people have in their heads. No one does this. It's just fucking ridiculous. Let's continue.
That values stereotyped masculine reason over stereotyped feminine feeling and wants order. And yet the reasons we hear are so irrational. If I did not eat animals, they never would be born. Meat eaters, like anti-abortionists, have forgotten that one quality of non-existence is not having awareness about existence. Meat eaters say, why, if we put prisoners to work in slaughterhouses in England, they will be learning a skill. I did not know that killing was a skill generalizable to other jobs. The new colonialist boasts, I only eat meat from locally owned farms, and I know the farmers there love their animals. If killing what one loves is standard practice, I hope they don't start loving me. What about carrots? What about carrots, we're asked, though I've never seen a meat eater leap into the road to save a carrot from being run over by an automobile. When all else fails, meat eaters assert that animals are not our equals.
They're not.
One would think such an equality would require us to respond more, not less sympathetically. Meat eaters tell me it's so hard to change, and yet I watch them work even harder not to change. If you all agree that 95% of meat is from factory farmed animals and it's wrong, stop eating it. Go to your colleges and eat the vegan option, which every college at this campus offers. It's very simple. If you agree with the basic things so that we're not even debating factory farms, then act on it. So, is our global outcome to be determined by people afraid to change who are going to hold on to some old conceived notion of power? Change may be hard, but not changing is harder. Tonight, you're being asked to vote on whether you accept this new colonialism or not. Our menu choices don't stay on the plate. And I heard all your laughter. I know some of these must be new ideas, or you think they're fringe or whatever. Our whiteness is part of the problem of meat eating. It really is. So your vote tonight is important, but even more important is the question of what or who will be on your plate in the morning. Sweet dreams.
Alright guys, I like the sweet dreams in. That was a nice little mic drop, I guess. Yeah, that was utterly ridiculous. That was really ridiculous. And I mean, you're a vegan. If you are a vegan and you're watching this, please do not follow her lead. Just lead by example. That's really all you can do, is lead by example. Again, it's not that I don't agree with everything. I don't disagree. It's not that I disagree with everything she said, because again, I already said it before. I think the mass, production, industrial farming that we do is broken. I think the system is broken. The amount of resources are waste and use, I think, is all broken. The way we eat, but agriculture in the West, period, is broken. We fucked up the soil to this point. We fucked up the seeds to this point. So a lot of it is broken. Not just the animal industrial farming era of it. So I do agree with that. I'm pretty sure it sucks to be an animal in these factories. I'm pretty sure it sucks to have your baby ripped from you. All those things are sad. And when she was talking about these animals trying to escape, it's like there's no one surprised. Like no one really believes that the cow is like skipping into slaughter. Like no one thinks that. And do I think animals are equal to human? No, I don't. Because if there was a baby cow and a human baby drowning, I'm gonna save the human baby. So look, they're not equal. But does it mean that people don't care about animals? Yeah, I think maybe it seems hard to compartmentalize when it's like, I love animals but then I also eat them. But we've seen, again, these toxic masculine men who risk their lives to save like horses and cows and dogs from drowning or being stuck in a tree or from burning buildings. Like we've seen people risk their lives to save animals. And so people do care about animals, but we just don't put them on the same level as humans. No, like we don't see them as equals. Not everybody anyway. And if you do, that's up to you. Like feel free to feel that way. So yeah, that was just ridiculous. That was cringe. This video is longer than I needed to be or I wanted it to be, but I wanted to react to this because I just wanted you to experience the pain that I had to experience. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section below. What you think of what I said, what she said, everything in the comment section below. Are you vegan? Are you vegetarian? Do you want to become vegan, vegetarian, plant-based? Are you just like carnivore all the way? Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell to get to notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support this channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program or my brand new Patreon. Different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel and or follow me in my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date, and you guys have an amazing day. Bye.